Hello everyone, welcome to today's live stream. I'm going to be keeping it brief today. It's going to be a classic 10-minute portrait tops, and we're working from this awesome reference of Helen Keller. Thank you to Tommy, who shared a beautiful quote with a drawing earlier today on Instagram, and I'll just read the quote, and this inspired me to look up Helen Keller and find this reference. And the quote is, "Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light." And it was a beautiful sketch. Everyone go check out Tommy Meyer art, a sketch made in the name of friendship. So, hey Greece, it was nice to see you in our sketch session. We were just sketching for 2 hours on Zoom, and I'll just show you my last portrait. This was of Barbara. So I'm warmed up and ready to go for this one. This was 6 minutes. See what we can do here. And this is going to be shape focused again. That's the idea this month. And yesterday's was all using the flat side of my big graphite pencil. And I thought I'll use that again today and see how we go with this one. So let's do it. And it's bedtime here, so we're going to keep it brief. And let's go. How is everyone? What have you been up to? Hey Tommy, it was really nice having you with us in Zoom for the first time. So every Tuesday I host a Zoom session, and those who want to pose are welcome to, and some people don't want to pose and they're welcome to not pose. But it's a really nice way to just hang out and practice sketching together. Ingrid, Der Gries, Jody, Tommy, Isidore, Artur, Nana, Astrid, SG. So good to have you all here. Thank you for being here. For those who are following along daily, because we've been doing this daily practice, who is trying to focus on shapes like I have been attempting to, and how is that going for you? So I love line work, and using the pencil like this. So this is a solid graphite pencil, is very different to being on point with line work, but the variation in line quality that's possible with this is really interesting. Tommy loved the Zoom. I'm glad to hear it. It was really great to meet you. But it's a bit tricky trying to use this and only do shapes. And I've wondered, often what's great in these drawings is like using this big broad edge and then combining it with being on point. And it's the kind of varying the resolution, which makes it really interesting. And I felt like that was something that I was lacking a little bit yesterday. It was interesting just to push the shapes, like to add a bit more definition. But for a time, and like to have a specific purpose of trying to do things differently than I normally would, then it's interesting to just accept the limitations and see what I can do within those limitations. So if that sounds interesting to you, I invite you all to experiment with it too. And the Tuesday sessions I feel are often really cool for experimentation, because each pose is so brief. We sketch between 30 seconds and 6 minutes. And so for trying out something, a new medium or a different approach, it's really like a low risk kind of time investment, and something interesting may happen in the short time frame, or it may something undesirable might happen. So I have learned in those sessions, for example, that I find it very difficult to do super quick watercolor sketches, which is what last month was all about, trying to get more comfortable with a really brief time frame with watercolor. Hello Silesh, good evening. Salish, I saw that Vin drew you. Vin Ganapati. It's so cool. He's doing a daily practice, showing something every day on Instagram, and it's just amazing. He's so cool. Some really great cat portraits as well in there. So Helen Keller, what do people know about Helen Keller? Tell me in the chat. We're almost half time, and I feel like it's interesting. There's a lot of the kind of foundational shapes are present. It's kind of hard to see. I can see what I'm doing, but the camera's having a hard time. Hi, Brigitte. Absolutely loved it, Silas. Yeah. Worthy of love. So cool. There are so many great portraits of you, Silas, and you share so many great photos on the Museum by Sketchy app. So I'm going to kind of break my own concept here, just to draw the eyes, because I cannot draw the eyes in here with the flat side of this pencil, which could just create an interesting contrast to like the rest, the lack of definition. So we talked a little bit about Helen Keller in the Zoom session just now, and Jane was saying I thought it was really interesting that so she was known for kind of thriving in limitation, I guess. She was blind, right? Does someone know better than me? And so she became famous for her success with that kind of sight impairment, and then was really outspoken and became an activist and had a lot of opinions on a lot of things, and was what was the list of things? Maybe someone who was just in the Zoom room can help me remember, but advocate and activist for disabilities and women's rights and labour movement and socialism, and it sounded like she did a lot. And it's really interesting. I'm really curious to learn more, and I love that the opportunity to kind of just inspired by this spark of inspiration from Tommy's beautiful drawing and the quote that you shared. And they'd be like, oh, interesting. Let's learn more. And this way that someone posted something saying, drawing interesting people with Dylan and Sara. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, I think all people are interesting in one way or another. But to be able to connect and learn about the subject that we're drawing is a really wonderful gift, and just an invitation for any of us to learn more. So we like dive in through the lens of the portrait, and through that get to potentially learn and connect in an interesting way. Wow, I still have time, and I felt like I'm kind of like with the flat edge of this pencil. I feel like I've about done what I can do. So maybe that's just an opportunity to just add a little bit more, or a bit more detail. So I've done a lot just focusing on shape and the broadness of the shapes. And perhaps I can kind of reinforce some of those shapes with a bit more definition. So I really like brief sketching, and I think, as I was just saying in Zoom, that this brief practice is really valuable, and I'm glad to be able to do, like, just make it possible to just do a brief practice, which I would encourage you all to do, and I'm glad that you're here doing it with me. But the idea that even with 10 minutes we can make something, and it can be worth opening the sketchbook and just being present with whatever it is that we're observing and sketching at the time. Oh, Silesh. I was just thinking, why was I thinking of Silesh yesterday? Because my 11-year-old was asking me about Demon Slayer. And I remember that I posted something on TikTok years ago, and I used the music from Demon Slayer. And I was like, and yeah, he was asking me yesterday if I know it, where I know it from. So we were talking about you, Silesh. Because I posted it and you were like, oh, cool, Demon Slayer music. All right, that was 10 minutes. Thank you very much for joining me. Always, I always think about you, Silesh. Thank you for being here, Silesh. Everyone, think about Silesh. And thank you, everyone else, for being here too. Well, there are 21 of you and only 4 likes. So could we get it up to 21 likes? Thank you for being here. Put your drawing hand emoji in the chat if you've made it all the way. Oh, look at this little pencil that I wasn't using. Put it in there. Put it in the chat. Put it in the comments if you're watching the replay. And thank you so much for being here. I would love to see your work. So post on Instagram, post on the Discord server, and have a glorious evening and a really excellent night's sleep.